Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalam ala Imam al-Anbiya wal Mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma arna al-haqqa haqqan wa razqna ittiba'ah wa arna al-batila batilan wa razqna ijtinabah. Believing brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this, another of our sittings. We are about to do the tafsir of another surah. Today we are going to do as it was advertised by the admins, we are going to do the tafsir of Surah Maun. So what is the meaning of the Arabic word ma'un? The Arabic word ma'un means small acts of charity, small kindness. For example, if your neighbor runs out of salt and you give them some salt, that's called ma'un. Or if your neighbor's car is broken down and he's going to the town center and you are going to the same place, the town center, and you give your neighbor a lift, that is also called ma'un. So ma'un means small acts of charity, small kindness. In this surah, Allah Ta'ala said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. Allah Ta'ala said, have you not seen the one who denies the day of recompense, which is the day of judgment? Deen in this ayah means the day of recompense, the day of judgment. And the judgment day has 50 names. One of the names is Yawmuddin. So Allah said, Maliki Yawmuddin. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمِ. It is he who drives away the orphan harshly. The Prophet ﷺ said, the person who looks after an orphan and provides for him will be in paradise like this, and he put his two fingers together, the index finger and the middle finger. So the one who doesn't believe in the day of judgment, he is the one who drives away the orphan harshly, and urges not the feeding of the poor, the miskin. Woe be unto those who pray hypocritically, the hypocrites, those who delay their salah from its fixed times, and those who do good to be seen by men, and withhold small kindness like salt, sugar, water. Let's hope that I can do justice to this surah, the tafsir, because it's very important and it's something that we live on a daily basis. What we are about to discuss is something that we see on a daily basis. So let's hope I can do justice to the tafsir of this surah. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Have you not seen the one who rejects faith in the day of judgment? What Allah is saying is that whenever a person doesn't believe in judgment day, he has certain characteristics. His character is repugnant, repulsive, obnoxious, atrocious. Whenever you believe in judgment day, it causes you to behave a certain way. You behave in a righteous manner because you fear to stand in front of your Lord to give account for your deeds. But whenever you don't believe in judgment day, what is it that will stop you from being an animal, worse than an animal, worse than the animals? No rahmah in your heart, no mercy, no kindness. Take for example a society in which people believe in judgment day. Take for example Saudi Arabia. I lived there for 8 years and I didn't see any old age homes where when your parents become old you dump them in old people home. I didn't see that in Saudi Arabia. But when I went to live in the UK, in London, I realized that to set up these homes to look after old people is a business. It's a business to set up these homes to look after people, old people, because their children do not have the zeal to look after them when they become old. In Europe, people are atheists. Maybe the majority are atheists. So for them to look after their parents when they become old, there is no incentive, there is no zeal to do that. They can't see, why should I look after my parents when they become old? Why not dump them in the old people home and let them stay there? I can't be bothered, I'm too busy. For you to look after your parents when you become old, you have to be a believer. If you're a believer, then you will see the need to look after your parents because you think about the paradise, you think about the hellfire. So because you think about paradise and the hellfire, and you know that to look after your parents is fard, compulsory, then you look after your parents. But if you don't believe in the hellfire, why should you look after your parents? When Dr. Shipman killed 500 of his patients with lethal dosage of morphine, there was no outcry. It's the Sun newspaper who made an issue about it because the Sun sensationalized the killing spree because they want to sell their papers. So because they want to sell their papers, they sensationalize his killing spree. He killed 500 of his patients with a lethal dosage of morphine, put them to sleep. There was no outcry from the children that he killed my mother or he killed my father. There was no outcry. It's the tabloid newspapers made an issue about it because they want to sell their papers. It's all about selling the papers. The kids were glad that their parents were being killed because it's difficult to look after old people. In 2005, when a heat wave hit France and hundreds of old people died from the heat, a lot of them were left on the streets of Paris. The kids didn't come forward to claim the body, to bury their parents. I don't give a damn if dog eat my mother or my father. I can't be bothered. It's too expensive to bury the dead. To bury the dead is very expensive. If you're a Muslim and you bury the dead quickly, the dead die at Fajr and you bury the dead by Maghrib. That's the Sunnah. And you don't bury the dead in coffin. A coffin is a bid'ah. Then to bury the dead would be cheap for you as a Muslim. And you don't dress up the dead in suit, jacket and tie like they do, the kuffar do. To bury the dead in Versace suit, Giorgio Armani suit, expensive tie. We don't bury our dead like that. We bury our dead with 2 pieces of white cloth, the same cloth you wear for Hajj. You bury like that. So that to bury the dead will be cheap for the Muslim, but not the kuffar. So the kuffar, when they have a dead, they are petrified and they are terrified because it's very, very expensive. That's why the people of France, when their parents died, they abandoned their parents on the streets. They don't care if dog eat their mother and father. I can't be bothered. It's too expensive to bury the dead. And they put their dead on the fridge to freeze, and the people charge them storage to store the dead because they have to put the dead on the refrigerator to freeze the dead for a week until all the family members come from all parts of the world to attend the janazah. We don't have time for that in Islam, to put our dead on the refrigerator to be frozen, for the whole family to be gathered to bury the dead. We don't have time for that. The sunnah is when a person dies at Fajr, you bury them at Maghrib. The Prophet said there are 3 things you're not allowed to delay. You're not allowed to delay Salah. You're not allowed to delay a marriage. And you're not allowed to delay Janazah. This hadith was collected by At-Tirmidhi. Can somebody bring the hadith for me? There are 3 things you're not allowed to delay. Go to the blog and find the hadith. Okay, shukran. It's collected by At-Tirmidhi. There are 3 things you are not allowed to delay. You're not allowed to delay Salah. You're not allowed to delay Janazah. And you're not allowed to delay a marriage. When people delay marriage, they always break up. The shaitan comes in between them and break them up. It's haram to delay these things. People who delay marriage, they end up committing zina. People who are still jahil, they are the ones who delay marriage because they're still jahil. That's why they delay the marriage. They delay the burial, and Islam advises otherwise. Yes, Islam advises that you're not allowed to delay the marriage. Allah opened up the surah by saying, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen the character of the people who don't believe in the day of judgment, the day of recompense? A person who doesn't believe in the day of judgment, their character is very, very evil. Some of them have 1,000 sex partners and come on TV and brag about it on the talk shows. Some of them will go to Las Vegas and lose $1 million or $500,000 in one night, and then they brag about it. يَقُولُ أَهْلَكْتُ مَالَ لُبَدًا. Your situation is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic. How can you lose $500,000 in Las Vegas with gambling and alcohol and prostitutes, and then you brag about it? Surah 89. Just a minute. I think Surah Balad, Surah 90. يَقُولُ أَهْلَكْتُ مَالَ لُبَدًا. Surah 90, verse 6. Surah Balad, verse 6. يَقُولُ أَهْلَكْتُ مَالَ لُبَدًا. He brags and boasts about the money he wasted. Your situation is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic. How can you lose $500,000 in one night from gambling in casino in Las Vegas and prostitution and snorting cocaine and then brag about it? That's not something to brag about. You're supposed to be ashamed of yourself. The reason why he brags about it is because he's hurt that he wasted his money. So he brags to numb the pain. That's the reason why. He brags about it to numb the pain of losing $500,000 in one night in casino. Gambling, prostitution, snorting cocaine, and drinking alcohol. So Allah Ta'ala opened up the surah. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen the character of the man who doesn't believe in the day of judgment? This man, you are not allowed to open a business with him. Don't go into business with him. He doesn't believe in judgment day. He's going to rip you off. Don't marry your daughter to him. A person who doesn't believe in judgment day is the worst of kuffar, worse than the shaitan. The shaitan believes in judgment day. What's the ayah? What's the surah? Surah 15, verse 36. Even the shaitan believes in judgment day. When he was thrown out of heaven, what did he say? Rabbi fa'anzirni ila yawm yub'athun. My Lord, grant me respite until the day of resurrection, when man will be raised from the dead. Even the shaitan declared his belief in judgment day. So the man who doesn't believe in judgment day is worse than the shaitan. So Allah said, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen the one who rejects faith in the day of recompense? That is a human shaitan walking on the land, and he's worse than the shaitan. What is it that will stop him from dabbling in snorting crack cocaine? What is it that will stop him from sleeping around with every woman he sees? What is it that will stop him from dabbling in homosexuality? What's going to stop him? What will stop him from being a murderer? What will stop him? There is nothing to stop him from the worst crimes under heaven, because he doesn't believe in judgment day. And a society in which the people don't believe in judgment day, that society is a habitation of human devils. I repeat, a society in which the people don't believe in judgment day, that society is a habitation of human devils. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. He is the one who drives away the yatim, the orphan. How can he not want to look after the orphans? Even the owner of Microsoft, Bill Gates, he takes millions to Africa and give it away. Allah Ta'ala said, فَلَقَتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ. You did not choose the steep highway. There are two highways, one is steep, one is flat. The one that is steep takes you to paradise, and the one that is flat takes you to the hellfire like a lamb to the slaughter. And after Allah tells you that there are two highways, one is steep, one is flat, and the flat one takes you to the hellfire, and the steep one takes you to paradise, what did Allah say? فَلَقَتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ. You did not choose the steep highway that takes you to the paradise. Surah 90, verse 11. وَمَا أَدَرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةِ. And what will make you understand what the steep highway is? فَكُّ رَقَبَةٍ. It is to free a slave. أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة. Or to feed poor people on the day of famine. So how is it that we have a lot of billionaires in the world, and when you watch TV, you see kids in Africa, their bellies are big, and they have flies in their eyes, and they are dying. And the fly know they're going to die. That's why the fly swarm them. Because the fly knows it's just a matter of time, they're going to die. That's why the fly swarm them. We have billionaires in the world. The richest man in the world is not Bill Gates, it's Carlos Slim, a Lebanese Christian living in Mexico. He's worth 90 billion. How can you be worth 90 billion and there are kids, big bellies with flies in their eyes? You can't take the 90 billion with you to your grave. Why don't you use your wealth to feed poor people? You pile up wealth as if to say you're going to live forever. وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. You love wealth violently. Surah 89 verse 20. You love wealth violently. وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. You are vicious in your love of wealth. And this person is worth 90 billion. Not million. He's a billionaire. 1,000 million makes a billion. So this person is not 90 million, it's 90 billion. How can you have so much money and kids are dying all over the world and you were able to go to bed and sleep with a clear conscience? The Prophet said he is not a believer, the man who eats his fill while his neighbor goes without food. People are starving all over the world. People die of hunger and starvation. This is why I'm saying to you, this surah is the tafsir is a very important tafsir, because it's something that you see every day. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen the man who rejects faith in the day of recompense? Rejects faith in Allah's deen, the day of recompense. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. He is the man who drives away the orphan. وَلَا يَحُدُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. And he will never encourage others to feed the miskin, the poor. The reason why people are dying of hunger and starvation all over the world is because the people with the wealth, they don't believe in the day of recompense. That's the problem. In this world, we have enough to satisfy everyone's need, but not enough to satisfy everyone's greed. I repeat, in this world, we have enough to satisfy everyone's need, but not enough to satisfy everyone's greed. How can you have 90 billion in your bank account and kids are dying of hunger and starvation all over the world? What will you say to Allah on the day of judgment? And some of these people are Muslims, the ones with the money, who can alleviate the lot of the needy and the starving. On Judgment Day, Allah will say to a man, I was hungry and you did not feed me. He will say, you are Allah, how can I feed you? Allah will say, my servant was hungry and you did not feed him. Had you fed him, you would have found the reward with me today on Judgment Day. لَوَجَدْتَ ذَلِكَ عِنْدِي لَوَجَدْتَ ذَلِكَ عِنْدِي. So don't think it's just the kuffar who have billions in the bank and turn a blind eye to starving kids. So-called Muslims do the same. It's not just kuffar who are billionaires. You have Muslim billionaires as well. You have billionaires in Saudi Arabia and Dubai. One of the richest men in the world is the Sultanate of Brunei, who paid Michael Jackson $50 million to come and sing for him. When he became 50 years old, he employed Michael Jackson to come and sing for him and gave him $50 million for the concert. And the Sultanate of Brunei is a goofy Sufi. And Sufis are very, very evil in character. He's a goofy Sufi. And he gives his money to Sufi masters to pray for him. I'm going to be very sinful, so I need you to pray for me to go to paradise. But I'm going to give you money. I'm going to pay you for the dua that you're going to make for me. And Sufis are very evil in character. Because a Sufi will tell you to your face, I don't fear Allah, I love Allah. A Sufi will tell you that to your face. I don't fear Allah, I love Allah. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen the one who rejects faith in the deen and in the day of recompense? فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمِ. He is the one who drives away the orphan. وَلَا يَحُدُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. And he doesn't encourage people to feed the poor. The Prophet said in a hadith reported by Bukhari, the best home is the home in which the orphan is properly treated, and the worst home is the home in which the orphan is badly treated. And the Prophet said in another hadith, any man who looks after an orphan will be with me in paradise. And he puts, the Prophet ﷺ, he put his index finger and the middle finger together and said, he will be with me in paradise like this, the man who looks after an orphan. So in Surah Balad, Allah Ta'ala said, فَلَكُ تَحَمَلْ عَقَبَ. You did not choose the steep highway that takes you to the paradise. You chose the flat highway that takes you to the hellfire, like a lamb to the slaughter. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَ. What to make you understand what the steep highway is? فَكُّ رَقَبَ. To free a slave. أو إِطْعَامٌ فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْغَبَ. Or to feed poor people on the day of famine. يَتِيمًا ذَا مَقْرَبَ. To look after an orphan who is close to you, like your niece or your nephew. O miskeen and matraba, or to feed the miskeen who is so poor, the miskeen, he can't find food. He has to go to Kentucky, McDonald's, Burger King, and eat what people throw in the trash can. That's the miskeen, he can't find food. The miskeen is dirt poor. Should I tell you the big secret about wealth? What is the big secret about wealth? Should I tell you the big secret about wealth? If you have billions like these guys I'm talking about, Bill Gates and Carlos Slim, you can't enjoy your wealth until you share the wealth. That is the big secret about wealth. You can't enjoy the wealth until you share that wealth. If you arrive in a community and you see 100 kids, they are so skinny, the rib cage is protruding. They are so hungry, the rib cage is protruding. And they are going to die and they have flies in their eyes. That's what I saw on TV. They have flies in their eyes because the fly know that they're going to die soon. That's why the fly swarm these kids. They are dying from starvation. If you arrive in the community and you are able to save these 100 kids from starvation and their rib cage is no longer protruding because of your wealth, you use your wealth to save their life, you will enjoy your wealth because you did a miracle. It's like a miracle to use your wealth to save the lives of 100 kids who were going to die from starvation. They had flies in their eyes and their rib cage was protruding. If you can use your wealth to save these 100 kids, you will enjoy your wealth. The big secret about wealth is if you want to enjoy your wealth, you need to share your wealth. And if you didn't share the wealth, your conscience will bother you. So you're going to have personality disorder. You're going to have a mental depression. You won't be happy. Why you're not happy? Your conscience is bothering you. That kids are dying from starvation and you have 90 billion, not millions, 90 billion, and you did not give a penny to any of these kids to save their lives. Your conscience will bother you. And when you go to bed, you can't sleep. And you are going to suffer insomnia and you're going to live your life on Prozac and many other antidepressant tablets because your conscience is bothering you that you did not spend your wealth in charity. even though you can afford to give. So the biggest secret about wealth, which was kept from you for many, many years, is in order for you to enjoy your wealth, you need to share your wealth. And one of the signs of a munafiq is that he can't give sadaqah. And even if he gives the sadaqah, the charity, he gives it unwillingly. So which surah and which ayah tells us the munafiq, he can't give sadaqah, and even if he gives it, he frowns when he gives it. Surah Tawbah verse 54. وَمَا مَنَعَهُمْ أَن تُقْبَلْ مِنْهُمْ نَفَقَاتُهُمْ إِلَّا أَنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَبِرَسُولِهِ وَلَا يَأْتُونَ الصَّلَاةَ إِلَّا وَهُمْ كُسَالَى وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا وَهُمْ كَارِهُونَ. Tawbah 54. And nothing prevents them, their contributions, from being accepted from them except that they disbelieve in Allah and His Messenger, and that they came to Salah lackadaisically, in a recalcitrant manner, reluctantly, lazily. Salah is a burden on them. And that when they give the sadaqah, the charity, they give it unwillingly, they frown. So in this ayah, Allah said, even though they reject faith in Allah and the Messenger, still they come to Salah. So why did they come to Salah? If they don't believe in Allah and the Messenger, why did they come to Salah? They use the Salah to hide. They are hiding behind a religion, so you can't see them, what they are made of. They hide behind a religion. You can't see their true colors, their reality. And the munafiqun, they were so difficult to detect, the Prophet had to send the angel Gabriel to come to the Prophet to tell the Prophet the names of the munafiqun. Because you can't tell what's in a man's heart. Even the Prophet depended on the angel Gabriel to tell him who are the munafiqun, because you can't tell what's in a man's heart. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen the one who rejects faith in the day of recompense, the day of judgment, and the one who rejects faith in Al-Islam, in the deen? Surah 107. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدْعُ الْيَتِيمِ. He is the same man who drives away the orphan. How can you drive away an orphan? You should love the orphan and look after the orphan. Even Surah وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. Surah 93. Allah Ta'ala said to the Prophet ﷺ in Surah Duha, فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Surah 93 verses 9 to 11. As for the orphan, do not oppress the orphan. Don't oppress the orphan. People who don't believe in Judgment Day, not only do they drive away the orphan, they will rob the orphan. A man who doesn't believe in Judgment Day, not only will he drive away the orphan harshly, he will rob the orphan because he doesn't believe in Judgment Day. And the Rasul said, stay away from the 7 major sins. Stay away from the 7 major sins. They said, what are they, O Messenger of Allah? He said, shirk, magic, murder, riba, to rob the orphan, to run from the battlefield, and to slander pious, believing Muslim women. Stay away from the 7 major sins. One of them is what? To rob the orphan. When Musa was taking knowledge from Al-Khidr, he kept breaking his promise. Al-Khidr said, how can you be patient with something you don't understand? Your Sharia is based upon the present. My Sharia is based upon the future. How can you be patient with something you don't understand? إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِي صَبْرًا. You will never have sabr with me. One of the things Al-Khidr did was to put the wall back up straight. And Musa said, why did you put the wall back up straight? We came to the village and the people did not give us any hospitality. No food, no water, no hospitality. And you put the wall back up straight. Al-Khidr said, that's it, you're fired. You're not my student anymore. Didn't you know people kick people out of their study circle? Al-Khidr, he got rid of Musa. Hassan al-Basri, he got rid of Wasil ibn Attar. He dumped him from the study circle. A man asked Imam Malik, how is Allah on the throne? Is he sitting, leaning, reclining? Imam Malik dumped him from the study circle. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he dumped Dawud al-Zahiri because he said the Quran was created. So Al-Khidr was not the first person to dump a person from his study circle, and he won't be the last. Why did Al-Khidr put the wall back up straight? Because underneath the wall was buried treasures belonging to 2 orphan boys. If the treasures should be uncovered, the people would rob the orphan. Al-Khidr knew some knowledge of the future. How did he know that they robbed the orphan? Because when he came into the village, the people were cold. No hospitality, no food, no water. These are cold people. You have guests and you didn't look after your guests. These people are mean and stingy and greedy. So for them to rob the orphan, they would not bat an eyelid. They wouldn't think twice about it. So when the wall came tumbling down, Al-Khidr put the wall back straight to hide the wealth of the orphan. And Musa asked, why did you do that? He said, that's it, you're fired. You can't be my student anymore. You're fired. Because you broke your promise. You promised me you won't ask me why whenever you see me doing anything. You're fired. So people like to rob orphans because the orphan is vulnerable. And because the orphan is vulnerable, people like to rob the wealth of the orphan. And people like to oppress a woman who doesn't have any wali to speak on her behalf. If you know that you are weak, you're a weak Muslim, don't look after the wealth of the orphan. If you know that you have a weakness for money, don't ask to look after the wealth of other Muslims. Because when you steal from a Muslim on Judgment Day, you have to give him your salah, your zakah, your sawm, your hajj. If you know that you have a weakness for kids, don't go to the masjid teaching kids how to recite Quran if you know that you have a weakness for kids. Stay away from avenues that you know you can handle. Don't disgrace the Muslim community. Don't teach kids if you know that you have a weakness for kids, teaching them Quran at the masjid. Don't expose yourself to harm and danger. If you know you have a weakness for money, don't take on responsibility of looking after the wealth of other Muslims. Stay away from fitna. Wealth is your fitna. Some of you, kids are your fitna. Women fitna. Alcohol fitna. Nightclub fitna. If you know that the society you live in is a fitna, migrate from the society. Because when the man killed 100 people, he went to a sheikh and said, can I make tawbah? The sheikh said yes. But you need to migrate from that society because that society is your fitna. The society has corrupted you so much, you killed 100 people. If you know that fitna, a society is fitna for you, migrate. If you know that an environment is your fitna, abstain from the environment. If you know that money is your fitna, don't take on the responsibility to look after the properties of other people. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen the man who rejects faith in the day of recompense? The man who rejects faith in our deen. People who reject faith in this deen, al-Islam, and the day of recompense. They are very, very evil in character. They are very promiscuous. Some of them are homosexuals, lesbians. Some of them, they are addicted to all types of drugs. They are drug addicts. They are drunkies. Some of them are burglars. They steal. They're muggers and burglars. Some of them are murderers. So when Allah said, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ, haven't you seen the one who rejects faith in the deen and the day of recompense? What Allah is saying is, expect them to be very evil in character. And you need to make bara from these people. Don't have anything to do with them. Make bara. Bara means to break links. They are very evil in character. Don't marry anyone who doesn't believe in the day of recompense. And don't open business with any man who doesn't believe in the day of recompense, because their taqwa is zero taqwa. They are human devils. And any society in which the people don't believe in the day of recompense, that society is a habitation of human devils. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen the one who rejects faith in the day of recompense? فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمِ. He drives away the orphan harshly. وَلَا يَحُدُّ عَلَى يَطْعَمِ الْمِسْكِينِ. And he doesn't encourage the feeding of the poor. One day, Abu Jahl, the greatest enemy of Islam, was passing on his Arabian horse, very proud on his Arabian horse, well-bred horse. He saw Abu Bakr Siddiq feeding poor people. He said, Abu Bakr, but he didn't say Abu Bakr, he called him by the other name, Ibn Quhafa. Ibn Quhafa, why are you feeding poor people? If it was Qadr Allah, they would have found food themselves. Why are you feeding poor people? If it was Allah's will, he would have fed them himself. So he used Qadr to be stingy. Abu Jahl, he used Qadr as his excuse to be stingy. Can you believe it? He's so evil, he used Qadr, destiny, as the hujjah, not to give charity. So Abu Bakr Siddiq said to Abu Jahl that Allah bless some people with wealth, and those who are wealthy should have shukr, should thank Allah, and those who are poor should have sabr, and those who are wealthy should spend on those who are poor. Abu Jahl said, I will never embrace Islam. Your religion is dodgy. Your religion is weird. I'm sorry, Islam is a dodgy religion. Because you are feeding poor people, and if it was Allah's will, Allah would have fed them himself. I can't embrace Islam, because if I embrace Islam, you're going to tell me to give my hard-earned money to poor people. I'm sorry, I can't do that. And he died a kafir. He died a kafir. Now, when he spoke like that to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Allah revealed Surah Yasin, verse 47. Surah Yasin, verse 47. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ أَنفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ قَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَنُطْعِمُ مَنْ لَوْ يَشَاءُ اللَّهُ أَطْعَمَهُ إِنْ أَنْتُمْ إِلَّا فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Surah Yasin 47. And when it is said to them, spend of that which Allah has provided you, those who disbelieve say to those who believe, shall we feed poor people? If it was Allah's will, Allah would have fed them himself. Verily, you are in plain error, manifest error. He told Abu Bakr, your religion is dodgy. I will never embrace it. Your religion is weird. I will never embrace it because you're going to tell me to feed poor people with my hard-earned money. I can't do that. I'm sorry. If it was Allah's will, Allah would feed them himself. Abu Jahl used qadr, destiny, as the hujjah, not to give away in charity. That was his hujjah. وَلَا يَحُدُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. They don't feed poor people. If I don't believe in Judgment Day, I don't believe in the punishment of the grave, I don't believe in Judgment Day, I don't believe in paradise, I don't believe in hellfire. Why should I feed poor people? Why? I don't believe in barakah and I will get a reward and my reward is paradise. I don't believe in that. Why should I feed poor people? Let them die. I don't give a damn how many die a day. Even if 1 million die a day from poverty, I don't give a damn. Why should I give my hard-earned money to poor people? I don't believe in Judgment Day. All of that is a myth and a delusion. The kuffar, they even wrote a book called The God Delusion. That God is a myth. God doesn't exist. That's a myth. Richard Dawkins of Oxford, one of the scholars in Oxford, wrote the book, The God Delusion. And his book became a bestseller in Europe because most of the white people in Europe, they don't believe in God. The God Delusion. Where is the link for the book, The God Delusion? So what Allah is saying is that if you believe in Judgment Day, it will give you an incentive to strive. To look after the orphan, to look after your parents when they become old, to feed poor people who are starving to death. The God Delusion. Okay, yes, that's a best-selling book in Europe because most of the white people in Europe, they don't believe in God. If you believe in Judgment Day, it will give you an incentive to strive to be a good Muslim because you don't want to be disappointed on Judgment Day. So you're going to look after your parents, you're going to feed poor people, and you're going to look after the orphan. Your aqidah gives you the incentive to strive. Your aqidah brings out the angel qualities in you. Your belief in Judgment Day brings out the angelic qualities in you. But the kafir who doesn't believe in Judgment Day, because he rejects faith in Judgment Day, his belief, his creed of rejecting Judgment Day brings out the satanic qualities in him. And because of that, Allah said, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Just take a look at the character of the man who doesn't believe in our deen, he doesn't believe in Judgment Day. Just take a look at his character. Look how evil he is. In his society, he allows the father to date his daughter in France, in Brazil. In his society, he allows women to marry women, men to marry men. That's all over Europe. In his society, he allowed the soldiers to have sex with the dogs and the horses they take to the battlefield. That's the American army. In his society, he allows sodomy in his army. In his society, he opens animal brothels. You can go to a brothel to pay to go to bed with a monkey, a donkey, a dog, a horse, any animal you want. That's in Denmark, in his society. When a person doesn't believe in Judgment Day, he is a human devil walking around on 2 legs. A human devil. And because he's a human devil, Allah Ta'ala said what? أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen the character of the person who doesn't believe in the day of recompense? He doesn't believe in our deen. And any society in which the people don't believe in Allah and Judgment Day, that society is nothing but a habitation of human devils. He doesn't encourage the feeding of the miskin. So whenever the kafirs go to a Muslim country to feed miskin, that is because they want to turn them into Christians. They have an ulterior motive to turn them into Christians. So the Sudanese government said to the people of Europe who would like to go to the Sudan with food to feed poor people, give the food to the Sudanese government and we will distribute it. They said, no, we will distribute it. Because when they distribute the food, they are going to say, in the name of Jesus, we distribute the food. So the Sudanese government said, okay, you cannot take the food to the Sudan, take it back to Europe. It's better for the people to die than for you to feed them with your food. You have to give it to the Sudanese government and we will distribute it to the people. The Europeans said, no, we will distribute the food. And when they distribute the food, they wear a big cross around their neck and told the people, it's the name of Jesus. Jesus gave you the food. The Sudanese government know what their plan is. So they said, we will distribute the food. They said, no, we have to distribute it. The Sudanese government said, okay, take your food back to Europe. It's better for the people to die from starvation than for you to distribute the food. Because these people, they are soul seekers, seeking souls for the shaitan. Soul seekers, seeking souls for the hellfire. That's why they want to distribute the food. To use the food to convert people to kufr, Christianity. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ, woe be unto those hypocrites when they perform their prayers. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ, they are negligent of their prayers. They don't pray the salah at its prescribed time. Even though when the Prophet was asked what is the best deed, he said salah at its prescribed time. What next? To look after your parents. What next? Jihad fi sabilillah. Okay, bring me the hadith that I've just quoted. Then the Rasul said, the munafiq, he delays Asr until it is almost Maghrib time. A munafiq, a hypocrite, he delayed the Asr until it is almost Maghrib time. Have you found the hadith? What is the most beloved act of worship to Allah? And he said, prayer at its prescribed time. What next? To be good to your parents. What next? Jihad fi sabilillah. Okay, bring me the other hadith I quoted. The munafiq delay the salah until it is almost Maghrib time. The munafiq delay Asr until it is almost Maghrib time. Bring me that hadith as well. So Allah Ta'ala said, the munafiq, when he comes to salah, he comes lackadaisically, lazily. Why? Because his love for Allah is weak and the salah is a burden on him. The time for Asr or late afternoon prayer starts when the shadow of something is equal to itself and ends when just before sunset. It is better to offer Asr prayer before the sun becomes yellow, because even though it is allowed to offer the prayer at this time, the Prophet ﷺ disliked Muslims to delay Asr. He remarked that the hypocrites offer their prayer at this time. Okay, shukran for the hadith. A munafiq delayed the Asr until it is almost Maghrib time. And Allah Ta'ala said, وَحَافِظُوا عَلَى الصَّلَوَاتِ وَالصَّلَاةِ الْوُسْطَى. Look after your 5 daily prayers, especially the middle prayer, which is the Asr prayer. Look after the 5 daily prayers, protect the 5 daily prayers, establish the 5 daily prayers, especially the middle prayer. And the reason for that is because it is easy to miss Asr. Because that's when you are in your shop, your business place, and you are busy with business. So it's easy to miss Asr. If you are busy, you are allowed to join Dhuhr with Asr at your workplace, and you are allowed to join Maghrib with Isha. It's better for you to join your prayers than to miss your prayers. And you are allowed to join your prayers on a daily basis if you are busy on a daily basis, like you are driving a taxi. Ahmed ibn Hanbal allowed a person who is busy baking bread to join his prayers, or a woman who is busy looking after her husband's guests to join her prayers. It's better for you to join your prayers than to miss your prayers. And when you are at home and you join, you have to do 8 rak'ah, 4 dhuhr, 4 asr. But if you are a traveler, you do 4 rak'ah, 2 dhuhr and 2 asr with 2 iqamas. And when you leave your town to another town, you're a traveler. So Allah Ta'ala said, الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. They are negligent of their prayers. They don't pray them at their fixed time. الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ. When they pray only to be seen by men. They do good deeds to show off. They pray at the masjid because eyes were on them. At home, they will never pray a single rak'ah. That is the meaning of the ayah. In the masjid, they pray because eyes are on them. At home by themselves, they will never pray a single rak'ah. So they fear the eyes of men, but they don't fear Allah, even though Allah is ever watching over them. Inna rabbaka labil mirsad. Allah Ta'ala is Sami al-Basir. They're all hearing, they're all seeing, they're all knowing, they're all wise. He's ever watching over you. On Judgment Day, Allah will expose his shin. And when Allah Ta'ala exposes his shin on Judgment Day, everyone will make sajda except the munafiq. His back will be stiff, he can't bend. Surah 68 verse 42. Bring me the ayah. Surah 68 verse 42. On Judgment Day, Allah Ta'ala said, يَوْمَ يُكْشَفْ عَنْ سَاقٍ وَيُدْعُونَ إِلَى السُّجُودِ فَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ. When the Prophet explained this ayah, on the day of judgment, Allah will bare his shin. Everyone will bow down except the munafiq. The Prophet said the munafiq can't bow down because in the dunya he used to bow down to show off, to be seen by men. So on Judgment Day, when Allah exposes his shin, he will try to bow down, but his back will be solid vertebrae. He can't bow because in the dunya he used to bow down to show off and to gain a good reputation among the people and to deceive the people into thinking that he is a good Muslim. So when the moment of truth came, when is the moment of truth? Judgment Day, when Allah will expose his shin. Everybody will bow down except the munafiq. He will try to bow down, but his back will be what? one single vertebra. He can't bow down because in the dunya he used to bow down to show off. This is the tafsir. الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ, those who show off. وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ, they show off with their salah and other good deeds. وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ, and they refuse small kindness. So if their neighbor is cooking and the neighbor run out of salt, and the neighbor asks them for a little salt, he says, I'm sorry, I don't have any. He's lying. Why he refused to give the neighbor? He said, oh, if I give my neighbor some salt or some sugar, the neighbor is going to bang on my door every day. I can't handle that. They're going to become a pest. I can't handle that. These people, if they have something in their homes and they don't need it, they're rather to dump it in the dustbin. They can't give it to the neighbor. If they have clothing that they don't need anymore because the kids become too old, they don't need the clothes, they will never give the clothes to their neighbor. They will say, what if I give it to my neighbor? The neighbor becomes a pest. I can't handle that. Very, very selfish. These people are what? Very, very selfish. And they live their lives aloof from others. The Prophet said, the man, the Muslim, who mixes with the other Muslims and was patient with their weaknesses is better than the Muslim who keep himself aloof from the community. Please bring me this hadith. I learned it from the lips of my sheikhs. I repeat the hadith. The Muslim who mixes with the other Muslims and he was patient with the hardship that they bring him. He had sabr with the Muslims, even though they cause him hardship. He is better than the Muslim who kept himself aloof from the community and wasn't patient with the hardship that they bring him. And the person who kept himself aloof is very, very selfish. Okay, from the hadith, Ibn Umar narrated, the Prophet said, the believer that mixes with the people and endures the hardship that they cause, he is better than the believer who does not mix with people and so does not endure the hardship they cause. One of the hardship the Muslims will cause you by mixing with them, they are going to borrow your money and don't pay you back. I've suffered that in the UK and in Africa and even in Jamaica. They are going to borrow your money. They are going to come to you with a hard luck story, borrow your money. They said, I'm struggling to pay a bill, light bill, gas bill, water bill, some bill. I'm struggling to pay some bill. They are going to borrow your money and they're not going to pay you back. I've suffered this in Africa, in the UK, and also in Jamaica. That's one hardship they are going to bring you. Another hardship they're going to bring you is they're going to backbite you. They are going to backbite you. That's another hardship the Muslims are going to bring you. Another, they're going to slander your name, the way they slander Aisha. They accuse her of having an affair. They're going to slander your name. That's another hardship the Muslims are going to bring you. But don't forget, when they slander Aisha, Allah said it's good for you. You know why? When they slander you, it's good for you. Don't you know why? Because on Judgment Day, they have to give you all their pious deeds. And if they don't have any pious deeds to give you, they have to take away from you all the haram deeds that you performed in the dunya. And because of that, Allah told the Muslims in Medina, when the hypocrites slander Aisha, don't think it's bad, it's good for you. The statement of Allah Ta'ala, Surah 24 verse 11, bring me the ayah. إن الذين جاءوا بالإفك عصبة منكم لا تحسبوه شر لكم بل هو خير لكم. Surah 24 verse 11. Bring me the ayah. Those who brought forward the ifk. The Arabic word ifk means a big lie. The Arabic word ifk means a big lie. So if you accuse a woman of having an affair, it's called an ifk. Verily those who brought forth the slander against Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, are a group from among you. The hypocrites who mix with you, but they're hypocrites. They're not real Muslims. They're fake Muslims. Do not consider it a bad thing for you. Nay, it's a good thing for you. Unto every man among them will be paid that which he had earned for the sin. And as for him who among them who had the greatest share therein, his will be a great torment. The man that Allah is talking about in this ayah is Abdullah ibn Ubay. He started the rumor. Abdullah ibn Ubay, he started the rumor that Aisha had an affair. Allah said, don't think it's a bad thing, it's a good thing for you. Why? Because on Judgment Day, if a person slander your name, on Judgment Day, they have to give you all their pious deeds. And if they don't have any pious deeds to give you, they have to take away from you your haram deeds. So if you drank alcohol in the dunya, they have to take it away from you on Judgment Day, because in the dunya, they slandered your name. This is why Allah said, don't think it's a bad thing, it's a good thing for you. So when a person slander your name in the dunya, that's your investment in the akhirah. I repeat, if a person slanders your name in the dunya, that is your investment in the akhirah. Because in the akhirah, they have to give you all their pious deeds. Surah 24 verse 11. So the person who doesn't believe in Judgment Day, he doesn't look after the orphans. He's harsh to the orphans. He will even rob the orphans if he gets the chance. He doesn't feed poor people, and he doesn't encourage others to feed poor people. He's very negligent of his salah. It's a burden on him. And when he prays to be seen by men, to show off. At the masjid, he will pray because eyes are on him. At home by himself, he will never pray a single rak'ah. He misses Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. All 5 salah he misses. Because he is concerned about the eyes of men, but he's not concerned about the eyes of Allah. Allah has eyes? What's your aqidah? Does Allah have eyes? I was taught in university that Allah has eyes, but they don't look like our eyes. That's what I was taught. The evidence that Allah has eyes is that the hadith says the Dajjal is blind in the right eye and your Lord doesn't have one eye. That's the evidence used by the Hanbalis. The Dajjal has one eye and your Lord is not blind in one eye. The evidence is used by the Hanbalis to say Allah has eyes. Do you agree with the Hanbalis? Allah has eyes? The Hanbalis believe Allah has eyes. And they quote the hadith in Bukhari. The Dajjal is coming to tell you that he is Allah. Worship me, I am Allah. But the Dajjal is blind in the right eye and your Lord doesn't have one eye. This is the argument of the Hanbalis that Allah has 2 eyes. So when Allah said, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ, haven't you seen the one who rejects faith in the deen? What Allah is saying is the character of a person who doesn't believe in Judgment Day, expect his character to be very, very evil, vicious and unscrupulous and atrocious. This is a tafsir of Surah Maun. I'll pause and take 3 questions only. Okay, this is a hadith used by the Hanbalis to say Allah has eyes. The hadith of Bukhari and Muslim. So the question is, do you agree with the Hanbalis that Allah has 2 eyes? I'm taking 3 questions. If not, we'll close the dars and leave the room. There are questions? Okay. I hope I did justice to this tafsir because it is very important. This tafsir, it is something you live and you see in front of your very eyes every day, even on your television screen. People dying of hunger and starvation. Because the people with the wealth, they don't believe in Judgment Day. That's why they don't feed poor people. They use their money to build bombs and kill people instead of feeding people. Why don't you feed people instead of using the money to build bombs to kill people? Assalamualaikum Sheikh. Since the Sultan of Brunei is a Goofy Sufi, is Brunei still one of the places you suggest to make hijrah? Even though the Sultanate of Brunei is a Goofy Sufi, it's better to live in Dubai than to live Brunei. It's better to live in Brunei than to live in the West because the population is entirely Muslim. Even though the Sultanate of Brunei is a Goofy Sufi, you are better off living in Brunei. It's a rich country and the entire population is Muslim. It's a very rich country. You're better off living in Brunei than to be living in the West because these black and white kuffar you are living amongst in the West, they are human devils and they are the armpit of humanity. They are nothing but human devils and the armpit of humanity. Sheikh, I know you said that it is allowed to have cameras outside the masjid, but isn't it a bid'ah to have cameras inside the masjid? The reason why they put cameras inside the masjid is because they are saying, what if somebody leaves a bag with a bomb inside of it and then it explodes? And the camera is for the safety and security of the people who come to pray. And what if somebody is up to mischief, no good? The camera is there. What if somebody should steal somebody's wallet, his mobile phone? The camera is there to see who the thief is. This is the argument which is advanced by the people who install cameras in their masjids. They said it is for the protection of lives and properties. Whether or not I agree with it, they are not going to take the camera down from the masjid. What you should be asking me is, your salah valid in such masjids? Yes, your salah is valid in such masjids. What I find disgusting is that they put cameras in the wudu section of the females. The Saudi Salafis in Birmingham, they do that. They install cameras in the wudu section of females to uncover the aura of females. That is disgusting, and that's what the Saudi Salafis have done in Birmingham, in Green Lane Masjid. You are not supposed to install cameras in the wudu section of females because you are invading their privacy and you uncover the aura of Muslim women. This is the last question. Assalamu alaikum Sheikh. I gave some sadaqah by check and then realized that was my budget of zakah. Can I change my niyyah now that money is not drawn yet? If the money is not drawn, you can stop the check and rewrite the check for something else. If the money is not drawn, you can stop the check and rewrite the check from another account. If the check has gone through, then you have to replace the money that was taken out, because the budget for zakah, you are not supposed to tamper with that. So you have to replace the money which is called the budget for zakah. That was the last question. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.